Welcome to the Recovering Perfectionist Podcast, where I empower you to develop sustainable habits, challenge society, and take messy action. I'm Christine, life balance coach and world champion ballroom dancer, and I believe that everyone has the power to create their very own life by design. The Recovering Perfectionist Podcast was created with a mission to encourage a life of abundance by finding peace and acceptance in our own imperfections and developing healthy self-love through sustainable habits and manifestation. It's time to align with the universe for the full human experience and redefine what it really means to be successful.
It's too good, the secret is out and wow.
Welcome back. We are here at the Recovering Perfectionist Podcast, and I am here with Reagan Toe. Very, very exciting. This young woman is a actress, voice actress, dancer, model, and the list goes on and on. I cannot wait for you to meet her. Reagan, welcome to the Recovering Perfectionist Podcast.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me.
You are so welcome. This has been something we've wanted to do for a while, and we're so very excited. SAG and AFTRA are officially off strike. We are here. We are excited. We met, Reagan. Let's get back to how did we meet? We met at Desert Classic Dance Sport Championships
last year.
So 2022. And you are just a fireball. You are a ball of energy, so much passion on the floor, so much excitement. I want to know, first of all, you dance, you act, you model, you do all these things. How do you do it all and still have that big smile on your face?
I think really, I'm very passionate towards it. So I enjoy doing it, so I just push through every single day. And also some days I would have a bit of acting, a bit of dance, a bit of, maybe I would go, because right now my Nike is actually at the Grove. So
that's right. You just did a Nike campaign that is live at the Grove. How cool is that?
It's pretty awesome. I loved when I was shooting it. I had such a fun time. And when I saw that it was so humongous, at the Grove, I was so happy. I only got to see it once, so maybe I'll go back and see it again.
Yes, absolutely. You have a wonderful mama. We're going to shout her out many times, I'm sure, because she is fabulous. Juliana, and she kind of helps you really organize your schedule. Also, can you tell our audience how old you are?
I'm 12.
12, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. So I think what I really wanted to do, I think this is really, really important because first of all, congratulations. You're the youngest person to ever be on the podcast in 6 seasons. So cool. But the idea here is I thought it would be really, really cool for a different perspective of a different age bracket, because a lot of the things that we discuss on the podcast have to do with things that happen in your life over the age of like 20s, in your 20s, 30s. And I think that depending on your lifestyle, like what you have a very unique lifestyle for a 12-year-old. There are things that come up in your life, like maybe some stress, some overwhelm. You're tired. How do you fit it all in one day? You know what I mean? And really pushing to be the best that you can be. And that's popping up maybe a little bit earlier, right? So I do want to discuss that a little bit later. We'll talk about a little bit more about kind of how you maintain a really good mindset around not having to be perfect all the time, because you're in a lot of industries that require you to be really on constantly, right? Yeah. But that being said, you were the voice in Elemental of young Ember.
I did.
First Disney Pixar movie.
I think that was my first one that came out. I have
Okay.
another one coming in December.
Really, your big thing at the beginning was you were the voice on Netflix. Tell me about that.
So I played the red light, green light doll in Squid Games.
Yes. How cool is that? That was like the red light, green light that went around the world, is what we heard. Your voice was everywhere. How do you enjoy being on camera more than doing voiceover work, or do you feel like the voiceover work is really fun as well?
I enjoy doing both. I started with like on camera acting maybe 6 years ago, and I've been on like Jimmy Kimmel, Jane the Virgin, like a bunch of commercials like Citibank and stuff. Um, but recently, well, not recently, like 3 years ago, I started getting into voiceover, and yeah, I mean, I'm really happy and blessed that Squid Game became as big as it is as now.
That's right, because we had no idea how it was going to happen, right? If it was going to be as popular, and it did. And then you dance. You have a professional instructor that you dance with, and you also have an amateur partner that you dance with, and you travel all over the world for ballroom dancing, right? It's
Yeah,
not just in the LA backyard. It's like you travel all over for this. Um, what about dancing? What's your favorite thing about dancing?
my favorite thing about dancing is being able to perform for everyone who watches me. Also, I just turned into junior category, so the dresses, the makeup, I and the tan. I mean, I like the tan. I like the shimmery part, but I feel like when you turn junior, like it becomes much more fun.
It does. It does. So for those who don't understand ballroom dancing, before you are in the junior category, the dresses are all kind of the same, right? They're very template, and you can't wear a lot of makeup, right? It's very children youth level, because we want to maintain still a good
And
category.
short heels.
And short heels, right? So see, all the thing. It has been a while since I've been in the youth categories, in the kids categories. So now you're a junior, and now you get to wear dresses that have more sparkle on them, and you get to wear higher heels, and you get to do more hair and makeup, which is really, really fun. Because that's part of the dancing. I mean, that's what makes it, we get to be a princess. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I'm sure, and you look stunning. So we got to see you again at Desert Classic. We see you at Hollywood. We see you, because for those who know, my husband has a photography business. So we get to capture all the wonderful sides of Reagan. And it's so fabulous. Um, do you ever feel overwhelmed with your schedule? Like that your schedule is planned out so far in advance because you have so many things happening, which is so great because we love to be booked and blessed, right? But do you ever feel like maybe you're like, oh my gosh, I just want a day off?
Like not usually, like maybe once in a while, like not a lot. But I mean, I feel like dancing and acting and doing everything is my day off. It's
Well,
considered.
right. And so that's what I'm getting at, is that essentially what you're telling me is that if you love what you're doing, then it doesn't feel like work, right? That's the cliche. And so that you are having fun doing this. Tell me about your school situation. Are you in school full time?
So last year I was in public elementary school. However, I did leave early from school almost every single day.
Right.
So in middle school, you can't really do that. You can't just leave every day. So my city has me go to a middle school from 8 to like 11:30 ish, and then on some days when I'm available in the afternoons, I go to another school to finish my studies.
Do you do any like collaboration with like online schooling or any homeschooling while you're on
I
the road?
homeschool or yeah, I don't really.
You don't. So you're able to get all of the work that you need done in those blocks while you're home. And then you travel more maybe on the weekends.
I travel more. I would say I get my stuff done when I'm traveling on the airplane because
Right.
yeah. like what they said today, on tomorrow, I'm actually going to Cancun.
Ooh, what's in Cancun?
Vacation.
Okay, so we're taking a vacation. I love this. This is great. So, I mean, listen, you are living most people's dream right now. You are on television, you are doing what you love, you're dancing, you're acting, you're doing all the things. You're going to school still, but you're handling that. And then you're going to vacation as well.
Yeah.
How do you feel? This is something that, because I don't know if you know this yet, because you're just 12, but when you get to an age where, you know, you're handling all of this yourself. I know you have mom and you have all these different people, coaches, right? I know you have a lot of coaches that you work with. They're all helping you to make this dream happen, because it takes a village, right? You know that it takes a village. But when you get older into your 20s and 30s, a lot of times people feel so overwhelmed. There's a lot of anxiety that comes in. What do you feel? How do you feel like you are able to maintain that level? Or do you just feel like because you have all this energy at 12 years old, you're able to just handle it and we just move forward? And what's the next thing on the agenda? And do you ever miss just being a kid?
So I've been doing what I've been doing, like my schedule constantly booked for the past maybe 3 years now.
Okay.
So sometimes, like most of the times, I'm just like handle it, go through, like I got this, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, I have so many things to do today, but I always get through it anyway.
You do. You do. And you get through it with the most beautiful smile and the most positive attitude. Who do you feel has helped you a lot with understanding how to have a positive outlook on life?
I think the person who has helped me the most is, let's see, probably my teacher, Shirley Ballas. I mean,
Oh.
she guides me through everything, and she makes sure that like I'm always mentally okay and always happy, and making sure I'm not too tired and too overbooked. And yeah.
That's wonderful. Shirley, for those who don't know, Shirley Ballas is one of the top coaches in our ballroom industry. She is responsible for Derek Huff, Mark Ballas, Julianne Huff, all of these incredible dancers that you see on Dancing with the Stars. She had a hand in coaching many of them and raising most of them. So that's a really good example of someone who, and I like that you said that she focuses on your mental health too, because she's a very strict physical dance coach, and she gets the results, right? For sure.
Yeah.
However, mental health, how important do you think mental health is to what you do in your life?
I think it's extremely important because you have to be mentally okay in order to be able to do this type of things that I do.
Yeah, to be able to do it for a long period of time.
Yeah.
Right? Because a lot of people are like, oh, well, it's fine. I'll take a break when this is done. And then something else comes up, right? Or I'll get back to this and I'll rest and I'll play when this is over. And what happens is that, and in your case, you kind of want to keep having things come, because that's not only your career, it's building your brand. It's Nike campaigns. It's very exciting. So you don't want the work to slow down, but you also have to make sure that you still rest and recover, right? The recovery part, I think, is really important too. What's your favorite thing to do when you're not working, right? Acting, dancing, all of that.
I think my favorite thing to do is probably, I love baking.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not expect you to say that. We've not talked about this, Miss Reagan. Are you good in the kitchen?
So before I was doing all my voiceovers and modeling and stuff like that, my grandma is a really good baker and chef. So maybe every weekend, me, my brother, and my uncle, we would go and like make food and things with her. So yeah.
Nice. What's your favorite thing to bake?
My favorite thing to bake is my favorite personally is she makes like it's called a Lady M cake. It's like layers of crepe cake, and then you put like cream and like crepe and crepe and crepe and crepe. So yeah, it's my favorite.
That's amazing. That sounds so good. And it's probably really relaxing and like meditative to
Yeah.
bake. You know what I mean? Like not like cooking. Cooking sometimes I feel like, like big recipes, things like that. But when you bake, I feel like it's like, you're going to get a dessert out of it.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more like low stress. I love that. Let's tell people who don't know your cultural background. Where are you from originally, or your family's from?
So I was born here, but my entire family was born in Hong Kong.
Hong Kong. How important is it for you and for your family, but also in today's world, to represent Asian culture in the work that you do?
I mean, it's extremely important, of course. Of course, like I always represent myself as an Asian American actress because I feel like it's really important to embrace the culture that you have. And one of my biggest inspirations in the world is Michelle Yeoh. I mean, she is incredible, and she's also Asian American, of course, and she won Oscars, and yeah, I hope one day I get to be just like her.
Yes, she is amazing. She's definitely someone to look up to, and she's had an incredible career that just continues to surprise everybody in such a beautiful way. I think cultural representation, obviously, we know is extremely important. And the fact that you're able to represent that in such a beautiful way and a positive way, I think is fabulous. Let's talk about the big goals. Like, you're 12, you've already had a national campaign, you've been on Disney Pixar movies, you've been on one of the biggest shows on Netflix. Your resume is extensive. Tell us about a little bit of your titles in dancing, right? Because a lot of people don't know how that world works, but tell me your titles in dancing.
All right, so I think the best title I have is at UK, I won the under 14 international ballroom world champion title.
I love that. I love that. That's so amazing. And how did it feel to dance? How does it feel to dance in other countries?
I'm really grateful that I get this opportunity to dance in other places other than America. I mean, that floor in England was humongous, and I had such a fun time with all my friends. And another title I won was at USDC in Florida, which is at Disney World. So I was really happy about that.
Oh, yes.
So I won a US Ballroom National Champion and US Latin champion.
Love that. Love that. That's so amazing. And you're just going to keep growing with it. Ballroom dancing is a stepping stone, as you grow into new categories. You have two kind of worlds going on right now. Let's talk about like a big goal for dancing, since we're already in the dance conversation. What is something that you really want to accomplish in ballroom dancing?
I really, really want to become a world champion with my partner. I just got a new partner.
Your amateur partner?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm
Very
hoping
cool.
that we would go to like maybe nationals or anywhere like that I could win like a big title with him. That would be amazing. We just started 10 days ago, actually.
Oh, brand new partnership.
Yeah, we competed at Ohio Star Ball.
How did that go?
10 dances. We placed second in the 3 dance and 5th in Latin and ballroom championships.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. That is so cool. So for those who don't know, in ballroom dancing, partnerships change a lot, especially when you're young, right, in the youth categories, because you're kind of trying to find that person that fits you, trying to blend your styles together. How many, you've had a few partners up until this point, right? Right, Reagan?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is exciting to kind of start a new partnership, but you do have your teacher that you dance with as well, and he's the one that kind of keeps you going.
Yes.
That allows you to have some consistency in your technique and all of that, so then you can apply that to working with a boy your age.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. And then in acting or voiceover or modeling, any of that stuff, what kind of big goals do you have there for yourself?
So for modeling, I would say, I mean, I would just love to model for anything. I mean, I'm very happy with the Nike already, and anything would be great. For voiceover, I would love to be in maybe like have a own character in an animation or something cool. My teacher, Linan Zager, she is incredible. She does castings for a lot of animation, and I always look up to her when I am doing my voiceovers and stuff. And for my acting, my biggest goal is to win an Oscar one day, hopefully. That would be life changing.
It is life changing because just like what you said, when Michelle Yeoh won the Oscar recently, just last year, right? What a beautiful representation to show young girls, and young Asian American girls, as you said, that it's possible. You see people that look like you. Do you have some advice for people who are trying to do what you're doing, young kids, because obviously you're still a young kid, but you are, and we need to get into a little bit about how you got started here, but so maybe some advice for someone who's trying to do what you're doing or is just excited about the arts and wants to get more into that, and how they get started there.
So for me, I would say, every opportunity you get, you need to work hard for it. I mean, you only get one chance, and if you like something, you shouldn't give up on it. You should just keep going through it.
Absolutely. And so for you getting started, how did your journey begin? Was this something that you wanted to do? Was this something that your mom said, "Oh, here's an audition, let's do this"? What was the first thing you got?
So when I started Latin, let me start with acting. Okay, so
start with acting.
I was in the hospital when I was 5 years old. I was really sick because my lung collapsed, and I was in the ICU for I think 2 weeks, and then one day the doctor, before that, I mean, I was young. I didn't watch any TV and stuff. And then the doctor was like, "Oh, do you want to watch some TV?" And like he played like a movie or show on the TV. And I was like, "Oh, that looks so fun. I want to be on TV one day." And then I told my mom, and she goes, "If you can, get out the hospital and be okay, then she'll put me in acting classes." And yeah, here I am.
Wow. You got to go back and tell that doctor what's going on in your life right now. That's amazing. I did not know that story. How cool is that? Do you remember the first audition you ever had?
So the first audition I've ever had was for, I think it was a car brand. I was so nervous.
Was going to be my next question.
I did have a lot of fun. I mean, it was pretty exciting. How I started dance was through when I booked my first ever thing from Jane Diversion. I met Gina. She was amazing, and I met a lot of friends there. And she showed me a video of, I think, her or her friend on Dancing with the Stars, and I was like, I gotta do this. I gotta do it.
So then you tell mom, you're like, "I want to act." She puts you in acting. "I want to dance." Like, how did mom take all this? So she was like, "Okay, Reagan, you're doing too much. We can't do everything. You have to pick something." Or did she always say, "Nope, let's just try all the things and see what you like best"?
My mom is always open to new things to learn because, I mean, maybe in the future I will become something else, but I will have experience in it. So I need to be able to master everything.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. You're very well-rounded, which is very good. You're very much a triple threat, as they say, right? And then eventually maybe one industry or path will pull you more than the others, and you'll have to focus a little bit on that. Let's talk about your relationship with your mom, because it's amazing, right? You guys have one of the best, most beautiful relationships. Is your mom officially your manager, or do you have another manager?
I have another manager. We signed with the manager like maybe a month or a few weeks before the strike started. So pretty bummed about that. But now, since it's over, I'm so happy I get to
That's
work.
it.
He actually manages Sabrina Carpenter.
Oh, yes. We love
So
her.
I'm really excited that I get this opportunity to be with him.
That's amazing. So your mom then, she does a lot of your social media. She
Yes, yes.
helps you manage your schedule. Obviously, she's still a mom. When I say that, I mean, does it feel like, do you still get that, how do I put it? Like that mother-daughter bonding time? Or do you feel like sometimes work and play blend in together?
I definitely feel the mother and daughter bonding, you know. Always, she is always there for me and she drives me everywhere. I mean, my dance class is actually in Van Nuys, so I have to drive really far every single time. So my mom gets me there on time every single day.
Go, mom. I love that. I love that. Um, let's talk a little bit. This is called the Recovering Perfectionist Podcast, right? When I say recovering perfectionist, what does that mean to you? There's no wrong answer here.
There's no wrong answer. Okay.
There's no wrong. I mean, what is it? What's the first thing that comes to mind? Everyone has a different version of what a perfectionist is, right? Let's say perfectionist. What's the first thing that comes to mind when I say perfectionist?
Someone who masters what they do, in my mind. Who's very positive, and I think like strong. Strong.
Yeah, that's good. That's really, really good. Perfectionism is a concept that is often described by high achievers, right? People who work, that have a very high work ethic, that do a lot of things, and they always want it to be the best version of themselves. When I was in my 20s, this was me all day long. I was someone who I was competing in ballroom dancing. I was singing. I was actually a singer when I was younger. I was doing all kinds of things. And I was taught, because I had a dad who was in show business as well, and he taught us to always be ready to go. You're performing tonight. We're doing it, right? It's happening. And you always wanted to be the best version of yourself. So perfectionism, I thought for a while, is a good thing, which it still is. There's another side of perfectionism that can be a little bit overwhelming and hard to meet, because, as you know, perfection is really not something that exists, right? You can never be a 100% perfect.
Yeah.
But we try to get really close. I know you and I really do. Because we love to see ourselves grow and the effort and all of those things. However, do you ever feel pressure, especially because we both come from ballroom dancing as well? That's an area of life, athletics, where you're being judged on how well you are compared to somebody else. So does that ever put pressure on you to be like, I have to be better, I'm not good enough?
I don't think so, really, for me. I always enjoy what I do, of course, so I don't feel any pressure on me. Maybe I will when I'm older, but for now, I'm as happy.
So you're not comparing yourself to somebody else. You're just enjoying the ride.
Yes.
I love that. And see, that's another reason why I wanted to talk to you, is because there's something that happens in our brains when we get older, that we start to see the bigger picture, and it starts to put so much pressure on ourselves to feel like, oh, well, I want to get this, so maybe I'm not as good as her. Maybe I'm not as pretty as her. Maybe I'm not. And I love that you're not feeling that, because I don't want you to ever feel that, because you're amazing and you are enough and you're great, and nobody else can be Reagan. And so as you get older, I'm going to encourage you and everyone else listening that you need to stay in that mindset. When you start to feel some doubts creep in of like, oh, I didn't win this time. Maybe I wasn't good. Maybe I didn't have the best dress. Maybe I didn't have the best technique. Or I didn't get that audition. Have you ever not gotten an audition and been really disappointed?
I mean, as actors, I think every actor will understand. I mean, there could be like a million auditions, and you could only get one audition. Like it,
Right.
I think dancing is much easier than acting because for once, acting, there's only one first place. You either book it or not. In dancing, there's first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. You get to see where your result is. But in acting, you send it in, no reply, then yeah, I think sometimes when you're doing a lot of acting and you're like, oh, I haven't booked anything in a long time, and you start to give up, but that's when you need to keep on pushing.
I agree. I totally agree. That's very interesting. I didn't even think about comparing it that way because you're right. I think I grew up in ballroom dancing. So for me, a lot of people have said, well, you're either first or you're last, but you consider it as first, second, third. You get to see where you are in the spectrum and you get to see where you are next time. Maybe you got a place higher than the last competition, and that shows progress. And I think that's a beautiful way to look at it. I think that is also a very good life lesson for other things, right? Because it's all perspective. And that is what I think can help you maintain your stress-free energy that you've got going on right now. But you're right. My brother's an actor. And so he tells me that his job is auditioning. His job is not the actual gig, right? The job, once you book it, bonus. But really his job is to audition. Yeah. And out of 10, you maybe get one.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's amazing.
Say it again. Out of a million auditions, you'll get one probably.
Well, and I mean, it sounds like you're doing very well. Do you feel like maybe there's, you're filling a need in the market that is underserved, maybe not just for Asian American, but also for your age category? Also, you have a lot of skills, right? You can do so many different things. So I think, do you think that is why maybe that you get booked a lot more often?
Honestly, I don't think so because I mean, I know a lot of Asian American girls who do the exact same things as I do. And we're all friends and we all support each other. And back then, like Asian American, no one was really hiring for them.
Right.
But now I feel like there was just like a bam and like everyone wants Asian Americans in their films. So I'm really grateful for that bam in this acting industry because it brought much more opportunities for everyone, honestly.
I agree. But in so many different cultural categories, not just Asian American, in so many. And I think you're right that, again, we come back to that cultural representation, which is not just important for booking, for people working in the industry, but also for young boys and girls to see people on the screens that look like them. We can't just have the same look, because otherwise young boys and girls won't be able to dream big dreams. I mean, you said in the hospital watching television and said, I want to do that. When you said I wanted to do that, did you see someone on the screen that looked like you, or did you just want to act because you thought it looked fun?
I didn't see anyone who looked like me, but I mean, honestly, I just was like, oh, I want to be on TV.
That didn't bother you, that you didn't see anyone that looked like you?
I feel like for this generation now, I feel like it would be really helpful if, there would be someone that looks like them on the TV to inspire people. But I mean, yeah.
But it didn't affect you. You were like, it doesn't matter. I want to still do this. This looks fun. You looked at it as a career choice or as a fun thing to do.
Yes.
Not, she looks like me, I want to do that.
Yes.
I love that. I think that's amazing. Your outlook on life, when I talk to adults that, have this really positive attitude and that really have a great outlook and an energy, usually that's because they went through a lot of stuff in their childhood. They worked through it. They did their therapy. They've grown to the other side. And now they have incredible. I mean, I can't even say, how was your childhood? Because you're still in your childhood. So I think it's amazing that you are having, and we don't really know the effects of our childhoods until years later. So we'll have to do a follow-up interview, in your 20s and 30s when we're like, how is your life now? And I think you're going to have a beautiful, beautiful life. But there are challenges that come along the way, and that's normal. Life is not perfect, as we say. No, perfection doesn't exist. How do you, when something doesn't go your way, or when challenges happen, maybe you didn't get to that audition because there was a traffic jam or something happened, you missed your flight, or, things happen, you weren't prepared, you got the wrong email. How do you move through those times that are more difficult and pick yourself up and say, it's okay, we'll get the next one?
So for me, a lot of people like laugh at me when I say this. Like especially my acting teacher, I'm always very positive. I'm like, oh, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. And they're like, it's okay to, feel sad. And I go, yeah, but it's always okay to just stay positive. And I always look at things as, it's all right, we have another chance, another opportunity for sure. And I'm never bummed if, well, sometimes maybe I'm a little sad that, if I missed something or it sent me the wrong email, I'm like, oh, like I couldn't get this opportunity that I may have wanted. And sometimes when that happens, I might just get another opportunity that I even love more. So I try to stay always positive.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I was going to say that's something that we say also in the coaching space and in the manifestation space is, if one door closes, another one opens, so I believe that all the opportunities that come my direction that that are available to me are the ones that were meant for me. Right. So if you missed the email, you missed the flight, or something happened, that opportunity just probably wasn't for you. There's something better out there for you. Do you believe that as well?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah. And that's proven to be true in your career so far. You've had such a big career in such a small amount of time. There's so many things for you to do in this industry and also in dancing. Is there something that you haven't tried yet that you really want to try?
So for mostly I want to try, I've been starting to take Kung Fu lessons, but I actually want to become like pretty good at it because I honestly think it's pretty fun. I also would want to get back to gymnastics. When I was younger, I did gymnastics and ballet because if you didn't know, my mom was actually a ballerina.
No, I did not know that. I'm not even surprised, Juliana. That's amazing.
She was a ballerina when she was living in Hong Kong. And so the first thing, of course, when I was like 3 or 4, I was in ballet lessons. And I think that really helped me for everything that came next in my life because, it helps me learn coordination, So I think it was very helpful. And also did gymnastics. I think my mom put me in there just for fun, but I had to quit both of those things once I started Latin and acting because I just didn't have time to, because the acting is, my house is here, acting's here, and the gymnastics and ballet's on this side. So I had to like drive this way and drive this way and drive this way and drive this way. So I had to stay on this side. And since I'm older now, I was hoping maybe I can get back to those things.
I love that. But yeah, at the beginning, there aren't enough hours in the day. And also, we're talking about you doing things at such a high level. You're not just booking the audition, you're booking it. And then you're like, you're booking, and then these shows are blowing up and your campaigns are everywhere. It's not just, a couple things here and there. And then you're committed to ballroom dancing. There are some times where I feel like I'm not going to see you at a competition because you probably have acting things going on, and boom, there you are, you show up. And I'm like, she's everywhere. There's got to be like 5 of you at this point. I don't know how you do it all. But I love that you have this positive attitude and you don't get you're not overwhelmed by it. You just make sure that the schedule gets handled. You just hired your manager before SAG and after went on strike. That was about 5 months ago. But who really organizes your schedule? Is that mom?
Yeah,
to make sure that everything can fit in.
Definitely mom. She always plans my schedules really well. I also have an agent. I actually have 3 agents who do 3 separate things. I have one for acting, voiceover, and modeling. So, I mean, they all work together to help me make a wonderful schedule.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Reagan, you are such a joy. Every time we interview you at the competitions, every time we take your photo, all of these things, you are just such a bright light. You have been such a beautiful example, not just for other kids your age, but for people my age, and older who are trying to understand that, there's a saying that is said that don't sweat the small stuff, and it's all small stuff. So it's very important, I think, to keep this energy going. And I want people to see that, because I think when adults see this, a lot of them are like, oh, well, she doesn't have as many problems as we do. She doesn't have to pay her own bills. She doesn't have to drive herself anywhere, because she can't drive and all these things. And there are so many different things that come with the responsibilities of being an adult. And that's why stress, overwhelm, anxiety starts to creep in, even if we're doing what we love, right? Because I do what I love, but that doesn't mean that I don't have days sometimes where I'm like, woo, I just got to take a break, right?
Yeah.
But I love that what I think the adults should get from this when they listen to this interview is not, oh, she's a kid, she doesn't understand adult responsibilities. It's more like, how do we as adults learn from you and understand that we were 12 years old once too, and we have this larger than life vision and this personality of being happy and, carefree because we don't have that many responsibilities, so we can enjoy life. How do we take that and put more of that into our life and not have to be so perfect and work all the time,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really important. I think what you're showcasing is reminding us to not forget about the little girl, the little boy inside of us that wants to go out and play.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So you're about to go to Cancun on vacation.
I am.
What is your favorite thing to do when you're on vacation?
So usually I actually love swimming. If you didn't know that, I've been doing swimming since I was 3. I've been doing a lot of things since I was 3. And my brother is actually really good at swimming too. And when we go to Cancun, it's gonna be really, really hot. I think so. I get to go swim every day, which I'm so excited.
That's amazing. That's a good place to swim too. I love that. Very cool. Well, listen, I think that it has just been a pleasure. Since I met you, Reagan, you have just been, we see each other at competitions, we give each other big hugs. It's all very exciting. We get to see your journey throughout not just your dance, but also we saw your movie Elemental. It was fantastic. We loved it. And we're very excited to see all the other things that you do. If you could give anybody just one piece of advice on how to live a more positive life, what would you say to them?
I would say if you enjoy doing something, you gotta keep on going. You gotta work for it, and you have to stay positive always, because once it starts going negative, it'll start going downhill. But once you stay positive and you stay on there, then you'll rise up.
Yes, you will rise up, and you are so showing us all that is possible.
Yeah.
And I love you for that. You're amazing. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me. Because I know you're very busy, and I appreciate you fitting me into the schedule. What is your next dance competition?
My next competition would probably be at Holiday in Vegas.
Very exciting.
Unless I book a humongous job or a role in a movie, then maybe not Vegas, and probably UK. in January, but hopefully I get to go to both.
I love that. That's right. We want to do it all. I love it. So amazing. Reagan, congratulations on all your success and on all of your continued success. I look forward to continuing to chat with you and see you along your journey, because this is just you're a beautiful example of how everyone can really enjoy life. And like you said, the theme that keeps coming back here is just enjoying what you're doing. So many people, I think, live every single day doing things that they feel they have to do and not things that they want to do. Yeah. And I think it's a beautiful thing that you're able to do what you love at such a young age and figure that out and carry that over into, your adult life. And I think you're going to have some beautiful people and friends that you're going to inspire to keep doing all of these things.
Yeah.
So shout out to Mama Juliana. We love her. She has been amazing. Thank you for organizing this as well. And for just, you two are just such beautiful, easy people to be around and work with. And we just love you. We need more light in this life, in this world, right, Reagan?
Yes.
Absolutely. Thank you for being a bright light to shine. And for all of those listening, we will see you next week.
Yay!
Thank you so much for listening to the Recovering Perfectionist Podcast. I'm Christine, and if this episode resonated with you or spoke to you in any way, please feel free to share. I absolutely love hearing from you guys and your thoughts about the topics based on your experiences. And also, if there's anything you want me to talk about, just screenshot this episode and share it on social media with your comments. Your feedback really helps me to curate episodes that best serve you. If you have time, I would greatly appreciate if you could leave a review wherever you're listening to this episode, whether on Apple or Spotify or any other platform. I'm wishing you a blessed week ahead, and remember, perfection doesn't exist. Take messy action. Healthy habits keep us balanced, and you are enough.